taking you through the connected franchise with my team since I've been a kid, and I'm pushing 60, the Oakland Raiders. And since I've been with them for so long, I've seen them go from great to mediocre, back to great, and the epic futility. Well, of course, that's not until the resurrection, since Reggie McKenzie has come to town. So this is a brand new session. I thought I would inject some life and go into owner mode. And since they spent some time in Los Angeles, going back and reaching to the basketball legend to be the owner of the Raiders, Mr. Clutch Jerry West. So we'll see how this goes through and processes. And I want to go and just briefly show you how I've done the setup. There'll be no actual gameplay. It will be CPU on CPU, so this has nothing to do with skill. In terms of playability on Madden, this is absolutely building the team the way it should be built. And my focus is going to be clearly on drafting players who have the Raider style and the Raider mentality. So we're going to be focusing, first of all, on getting the sliders set up. So I'm going to go through and show you what my team, not my team settings, the league settings. Show you how I've got this set up so we're all set. We are all on all Madden. Go through. I've got the minimum play clock set at 12 seconds, 15-minute quarters. Want to ensure that we've got, okay, that's all set. My sliders, I've gone through and tinkered with these through testing, and this is going to give, for me, the most realistic settings. We don't want anything out of control. We don't want, the 52 to 49 type of games. Player skills all on default. Here are the CPU skills. So this is going to give realistic, we're not going to see 32 sack seasons. We're not going to go see some crazy stuff out there. Penalties, this will give, at least through the testing I've done, gives a very good balance of penalties on both sides, and also realistic injuries as well. We don't want to see 18 guys on IR. So before I dive into gameplay, we'll do that on the next video. I've made two key adjustments, and that was to went through and moved Mario Edwards inside on defensive tackle. So I want to go through the roster briefly because there's some key changes that you always want to make, especially before the first preseason game. That is some key cuts and also some free agent acquisitions. And one of the biggest issues I've had with the Raiders over the years is just piling on the money on free agents that absolutely, completely suck. The one player I'm really on the edge with is Austin Howard, one of the weakest links. He's got, over $4 million worth of salary, but he's also going to cost a $4.2 million hit if you go through and let him go. So let's go through and show you Austin Howard. Right here, yeah. $4.08 million, $4.2 million hit. My biggest issue is the awareness is low, should be higher. So the way that I'm going to build this team is I'm not going to, have a hard on for speed and also the overall numbers as so many Madden players are. My focus is going to be on awareness. I want smart players, ones that have good play recognition, so they can decipher the plays and get to where they need to as quickly as possible. On defense, I'm looking at pursuit, and I'm also looking at shedding block ability. Those are the two keys I have. On the flip side, offensive line, I'm looking at agility. I'm not necessarily worried about the run and pass blocking skills as I am on the awareness side. So the focus, again, clearly on smart players who can get to the right place at the right time. And in my view, I'd much rather have a player who is extremely smart than one that is extremely fast If you look at the past Raider drafts and back when Davis was in charge, too much emphasis was made on speed. All right, so as we dive in here, there's a few key things I want to go through and change. And when you go through your team, one thing I'll recommend is go through the entire team. You can see on the lower right-hand side the development. And any player who has a slow development, axe them. And this is all about improving your team on a year-to-year basis. There's no reason whatsoever to keep a player around that's not going to deliver on that. So, for example, let me take you through on the corners. And I was going to cut this guy anyway, just because even though he was McKenzie's first round draft pick, DJ Hayden has been a complete liability in the secondary. As you can see, his development is slow. Play recognition at 73. There's really no need to keep him around whatsoever. And yeah, it's going to be a hit of about $1.5 million, but it's well worth making the hit right now than carrying this guy around. So we're going to free up $1.32 million, but it's going to count against us 1.45 next season. So we're going to be carrying that over. The biggest thing I've got with that, though, because Carr and Mack are in the last years of their contracts, so the least thing I want to do is go in there with very little money to do that. So we got rid of Hayden. Other guys we're looking at to go through and axe. Take a look at the offensive line. So let's come back here and look at Watson. So we come back here at Watson. Again, you look, his development is slow. We can probably pick up a guy on free agency. We're going to go ahead and let him go. Go to the tight end section. And here we've got Gabe Holmes. Again, another slow player. Go ahead and cut him. And just for sake, just go through and do some cleaning, house cleaning. McGloin, there's $1.8 million. He's really not going to go anywhere. I'd much rather go ahead and just cut ties right now with him and sign a decent free agent. Kind of guys who are on the cusp. Nate Allen. We'll wait and to see how healthy we get through in terms of free agency. Taiwan Jones is another one. These are guys who are going to cost us absolutely zero to go ahead and cut. Another guy I want to go with and let go. And he's a great special teamer, a great long snapper, but that means absolutely nothing in Madden. So we'll go ahead and let John Kondo take a hike. So with what we have so far, those are just some very, very basic cuts. We'll go and dive into free agency and look to go and improve our team. So if you come down here to the trade center, one of the things that I like to do, again, any cheats, any shortcuts, all those are going to be ignored. This is going to be building the team in a legit fashion. So this also means I'm not going to go and sign free agents and turn around and trade them for draft picks. That doesn't happen in the NFL, so it's not going to happen here as well. So we can see we've got just over $22 million in cap space. We've got 15 roster spots that are open, and we see the team needs going down from free safety, left outside linebacker, tight end, defensive tackle, and right tackle. Right tackle is probably the key area, in my opinion. It's the weakest link. Everyone rants and raves about how great the Oakland Raiders offensive line is. If you actually watch the games, there were key moments, key drives that the offensive line just did not give the push that was needed. And hey, anybody who says the offensive line was just incredible obviously did not see the offensive line get their asses handed to them in that playoff loss to the Texans. Okay, let's come back to improve team. We'll go into free agents. and we'll sign some key people. So the one area that we want to go and really hit is top 100. I'm always going to ignore. It's going to cost way too much money, and they're free agents for an absolute reason. This kid I like right here is Lamar Holmes. He's 6'6", over 330, Southern Miss. He's got some decent experience in his 4th year. But here is why I like him. He's an 80 pass blocker. And I understand right tackle you want as your run blocker. Hey, my focus right now is keeping Derek Carr healthy. The impact blocking, I'm not worried about at 68. We can work on that. The awareness is decent at 77. So he's a pretty smart player. He can get smarter. People look at that strength at 84. This guy's going to get pushed around. 84 strength and 68 impact blocking. With the 80 pass blocking and the 77 awareness, he's going to hold up a lot better than Austin Howard would. In fact, if this guy has a decent preseason, he could be our absolute starter come opening day. So we got him signed. Since we did cut McGloin, I want to look for a quarterback which is going to really give me, we got Connor Cook as the backup, the 4th round pick. I like this kid right here, Jake Coker. Balanced quarterback from Alabama, great school. Saban's a solid coach. So he's going to have exactly what I want. And what I want is in the lower left-hand corner, the throwing power at a 91. Everything else can be taught. The 60 awareness is way too low. But that is something that can be built up over time. And this guy may not even see a snap for a few years. So I'm not overly worried about that. I just want a nice prospect. And this kid, as a rookie, he's only going to cost me $780,000. So this is absolutely one I want to go and sign. Wide receiver, we're looking good at receiver. We're going to probably let Seth, well, if we might find a decent one, we can probably let Seth Roberts go, primarily because it cost us 0 against the cap to cut him, and he's also a slow progression. So at wide receiver, I'm going to come down and pick up this kid Brown. I went through and scouted these guys beforehand just so, don't go through and waste you guys' time going through each and every single one of these guys. So the key issue that I have with receivers, there's many receivers there's guys that just want speed, just complete speed, and that's all they want to go through and hit. Let me do a sort by salary and see if I can find this guy easier. Chris Brown. I'm not one that I'm going to go through and just completely just look at speed. Speed's not an overall issue for me in terms of receivers. I'm looking at smart guys. There he is, Chris Brown. So Notre Dame, 6'2", 194, a good-sized receiver. And I know you're looking at that awareness at 42 going, dude, this guy's really bad. Again, he's going to be lower on the depth chart. We can bring this kid along in a year or two, but the acceleration is nice. The route running is solid. The speed at 89 is not going to impress anybody. But look, the catch in traffic, spectacular catch, all those are really solid. And what's really nice is it's just going to cost us just over $1 million to have this guy on the roster. So we've got him. Next, we want some depth on the left tackle side, just because you've got, Penn is at 32 years old. That's getting up there. So, got this guy named Falk right here, Chris Falk. Again, this is what I'm looking at. Again, I'm not too worried about the awareness right now. We can always work on that. 3rd year out of LSU, 6'6", 317. great size, decent strength. The pass blocking, we're always going to focus on the pass blocking. The pass blocking is key. We've got to keep Derek Carr upright. So the speed, the acceleration is fine there. And those are two key areas I'm looking at my guards and my center. Most people don't understand you need a good agile center because on toss plays, pitch plays, and toss sweeps, the center is going to pull along with the guard. So we make sure we've got guys there. So we'll go ahead and sign him. It's just going to cost us $800,000. We also want some depth on the defensive line, and we want this guy right here, Bijan Werner, Florida State, third year. The key element right here is the block shedding. This guy's expensive, $2.73 million, but with that block shedding at that level and also the acceleration, I'm not worried about the speed. People will get turned off by that. Don't let that number fool you. Play recognition. This is looking really good. You may look at that, hey, his development is slow. That's true. That's one of the key elements that we're cutting players that are slow on the development side. But I feel this guy's worth. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to break my rule. If I've got a rule that has an issue with guys on the slow side, we're going to go ahead and pass on this guy. We'll go and hopefully get somebody else in the next week. We'll see who gets cut on the initial round. Next guy we're going to look at is Adrian Holland. Yeah, especially with that kind of money, almost $3 million. The last thing you want to do is spend almost $3 million on a guy that's really not going to develop. Here we've got block shedding, 84. This is why we are attracted to him. Yeah, play recognition is low, but the block shedding is what we're after. Speed is decent at 82. Tackling's all right. So 1.62 million. Yeah, a lot better than the near $3 million we're going to go through and pay from before. Next, we want also some depth on the defensive tackle side. And we'll go ahead and find Terrence Cody. There he is. Now, I remember when this kid came out of Alabama as a rookie at the combine. I mean, this guy had a massive gut on him, 6'4", 349. This is all I want to use him for. Strictly goal line situations only. Third and short or right at the goal line. 97 strength and an 89 block shedding. So the focus here is if this guy can get us 2 stops a game, and I don't mean him making the tackle. I'm referring to causing enough of a disruption for teammates to get to the ball carrier or cause enough disruption. There's a play action pass to screw it up and either force a punt or force a field goal instead of a touchdown. Yeah, $2.5 million is a big investment to maybe have 5 or 6 snaps out of this guy, but you know what? If he can get me 2 stops, that could be between a 3 to a 6 point swing per game. That could bring us some extra wins. That is absolutely worth it to me. Next is the free safety side, since that was also one that was on the list. We want to go ahead and get some more depth here. Again, I'm not going to be fooled by speed, all the other elements. He's a playmaker free safety. That's important. Speed is average. The acceleration is what I absolutely love with this guy. Zone coverage only at 78, but I'm not overly concerned. The key area we have to focus on this one is the pursuit and also the play recognition. So we can absolutely do that, and he comes in at a bargain at only $600,000. which is awesome. Next, I want some depth on the corner since we let go of DJ Hayden and Kendall James. Is the kid we want to go through and grab. DJ Hayden, can't even say his name because he sucks so bad. I really think that, just based on McKenzie's picks, Hayden could have been great. I just think he just mentally spent. All right, here's Kendall James. Now, the knock on him is going to be the college. Maine is not known as a football factory, of course. 6 foot, 180. That's a very much an undersized corner. But with a 90 speed and 91 acceleration, man coverage at 84, we really have some nice tools to work with. 1.6 million, a little steep, but we'll go ahead and take the gamble and see how he does through the preseason. And if he doesn't pan out, that's okay. We'll go ahead and just cut him loose and be done. Okay, so the next video will be the first preseason game, and we'll do that live, and that will be CPU on CPU. One thing you want to do before you jump in is you want to go into your coach and you want to go into formation subs, and this is where you want to go and make sure that you've got your run blockers on the offensive line, on your goal line settings, that you want to make sure you've got your blocking tight ends in on run formations. And the same is true on the defensive side. Since we have the fatigue factor up, we want to make sure that we get the right rotation, so you're not getting your guys having to go out because they're dead tired, that there's some good rotation. But most importantly, you've got your run stoppers on the goal line settings, and you got your pass rushers in on your nickel and dime formations. One thing I wanted to cover on the coaching area is over on the schemes. This is one place that most Madden players forget about. As you come over here, you want to make sure that you have the proper settings done. So we've got the West Coast here for the quarterback. I've gone through and adjusted all these per the starters I have. So you can see, we come back, West Coast for the quarterback and balance on the halfback. So if I come and go to my actual roster, okay, come back to the roster and go to the quarterback and hit Derek Carr. See, right there, West Coast quarterback. Now if I come and go to the halfback area and go to Murray, you're going to see that he is a balanced halfback. So just go through your team, each and every starter, then go back to the schemes and make those adjustments, and that will settle things in. All right, that wraps it up for the launch video to begin the season. Next one will be the first preseason game against the Cardinals. This has been Darth Raider 77, out.